This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Chris is an analyst of baseball at ESPN, the SEC network, played at Tennessee back in the day. Chris, we appreciate you making some time for us this morning. Happy to have you in Fayetteville. I heard you on the broadcast last night, kind of surprised like I was when Hagen Smith was inserted and the sixth inning in a tied ball game. We learned after the fact that Dylan Carter was dealing with some arm soreness. But what did you think about his performance shutting out the Aggies in 4 innings to close the game last night?
Well, I thought his performance was what I think he continues to show just how comfortable he is coming in and out of the bullpen. It's interesting to see the way different pitchers respond to different situations, and some guys are just wired for the bullpen. I remember when the Red Sox flirted around with making Papelbon a starter, and he was just like, no. I like throwing out the pen. Now, Hagen Smith probably a little early in his career to probably shelve being a starter, and he's not your traditional closer because he's, more in the Cops mold of give me the ball in the middle of the game and I'm going to get it home. But what a weapon to have, right? Now, he hasn't, I don't think, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he's done the Thursday, Saturday, or Friday, Sunday deal that Cops became so famous for. But I admire the strategy and the boldness of Matt Hobbs and Dave Van Horn to just identify a game they believe they can win and just go win that game. And then basically you're not to say you put a sweep out of your mind, but you're basically going, okay, we're going to figure out a way to win one of the next two and just keep adding up series wins. And, at the end of the year, you're going to like the way the conference record looks, which everybody knows if the conference record looks good, usually your NCAA tournament resume looks good as well. So you got to give the coaching staff and Hagen Smith a bunch of credit. And of course, a couple left-handers coming up with some huge swings of the bat in perfect moments for the Hogs last night.
Chris, you were a tremendous hitter in Knoxville, and Jace Borfin has been on a tear this season. He did not have a lot of success, didn't play a lot last year. I was listening to him speak about that after the game. As a former great collegiate hitter, what have you noticed about Borfin and how he takes his at-bats? Well,
I thought Dave Van Horn said some really insightful things at his great coaching points last night when we interviewed him about Peyton Stovall. That really applies to all hitters, which is, and then if you were listening, Tom and I ended up having kind of a conversation around it, which is just the game of baseball can be very counterintuitive, especially to type A guys who want to, quote unquote, make something happen. And it really is the epitome of a sport where you have to let things happen, right? You have to go up there with supreme focus and a plan that makes sense for you and the pitcher you're facing. And from there, you really have to react to whatever the pitcher allows you to do. And if that means taking a walk, and if that means grinding out a 2-strike at bat, like really that's all you can do. To a certain extent, you are dependent on the pitcher throwing you something that you can handle. Now, the best hitters handle the most pitches, and as you gain confidence, it's crazy how your zone of pitches you can do damage on expands. That being said, it appears that the game has slowed down for Borfin. It appears that he's seeing the ball very well. Case in point, hitting a breaking ball for left-hander last night off the hitting facility. So, there's so many things when you watch a hitter that transfer over, which is slow down your heartbeat, make the pitcher throw the ball in the zone, the ability to hit different speeds, and then the ball to all parts of the field. And he certainly represents all those things right now.
Chris, we've been having a healthy discussion about transfer portal and some things in basketball this morning. I'd love to get your take on what effect you're seeing it have, not just at Arkansas, but around the SEC and what it's done for the sport. As you look at rosters and you see players move around, what effect are you seeing in the short term so far with the transfer portal and what it's meant to college baseball to this point?
Well, it's probably my favorite topic to discuss with the coaching staffs. We had a healthy NIL transfer portal conversation with Arkansas staff yesterday. I've done it many times with A&M staff as well. I still think we're fairly early in the process where teams are, you're going to try this and that worked or it didn't, and then you're going to try that and that works or it doesn't. I still think, and to a degree, it'll always be a little bit fluid, right? Similar to the way these coaches approach some of their prep recruiting. But, just look at Arkansas's lineup. I think they had two position players last night that started at Arkansas, Stovall and Diggs. I think are the only two players in their lineup last night that started their career at Arkansas. So that just gives you an idea of the type of fluidity that we have in the game today, and it's not going to change. I think what's going to be interesting as the value of impact transfers continues to establish itself and these collectives continue to streamline where exactly they're going to push their funds, it'll be interesting to see the teams that really pursue the big fish on the market. And, not every year is going to have Paul Skeens and Tommy White, right? That's not every year are hitters like that going to become available. But when they do, it's going to be interesting to see if teams pursue because what happens is similar to what you see in Major League Baseball. If you go all in, let's just say you go all in on Paul Skeens and you spend 3 weeks of time, energy, and resources flying out to see him and bringing him in and wooing him and all these kinds of things. And he's your number one player, you're going all in. Well, meanwhile, there's 2 or 3 other pitchers that are probably, getting that attention from other schools that you may miss out on, right? So it's just another layer that these coaches are going to have to deal with. And it's also a vital reason why they have to be able to pass this third full-time assistant and allow more people on the road, because there is a lot for these college coaching staffs to manage right now, especially when you consider the draft is in the middle of July, and that throws even another variable in the mix.
Yeah, and in a sport with partial scholarships, NIL may have a greater impact in baseball than any other sport just because of the scholarship situation.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's almost funny, like we really don't hear too much about 11.7 anymore, at least at the high end of the Power Five, right? Like maybe there are a few Power Fives, certainly all the rest of the D1 schools that are probably just living in the 11.7 world. But I think at the upper end of Division I baseball, there's a lot of different ways to help kids pay for school these days. So that piece is almost lightened because you have so many different revenue streams with which you can draw from.
Chris, we're running out of time, man. We really appreciate you jumping on with us this morning. I know the game later on tonight got moved to ESPNU, so you'll be on call, I'm assuming, the rest of the weekend, correct?
Yeah, we got the next 2, and hopefully this weather brightens up a little bit and we get a packed Bomb Walker. I always love being in this place. Every time I'm here, I'm just blown away by the facilities here at Arkansas. So hopefully we'll have a packed house tonight and a bunch of energy in the building.
It's a fun place to be. Again, Chris Burke, ESPN, SEC Network, college baseball analyst, taking some time out of this morning to join us.
BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your basketball info, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest player reports for this year's pro basketball playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters this season, as we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. Basketball, MLB, NHL hockey, right down to UFC and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games you can play right from your home. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BLEAV. BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts.